America always wins. That is why, after 400 years of glorious American democracy, we have returned here to this place to declare to all the world that the United States of America and the great Commonwealth of Virginia are just getting started. Our future is bigger, bolder, better, and brighter than ever before. It's been a great honor for me to be with you this morning. I'd like to thank you. God bless you. God bless Virginia, and God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
So right now you have been listening to President Trump speaking in Jamestown, marking the first representative assembly, 400 years for that.
President Trump started speaking around 11:40 this morning, speaking for about 20 or so minutes. We've carried that live stream on WTKR.com, and News 3 reporter Anthony Sabella begins our live team coverage. Anthony is outside that event, so what can you tell us about what you've seen out there?
Yes, so I'm standing where just a little bit ago we had some protesters out here. They were out here for a couple of hours. They had cleared up pretty quickly once the president started speaking, maybe even a little bit before the president started speaking. But we had, I would say, close to a couple hundred people out here. Now, this was put on by the Williamsburg James City Democrats. They only had a couple of days to put this together, and their big message today was they told me they don't believe that the president stands for what is being celebrated inside the Jamestown settlement today. And so they were out here protesting him and protesting his visit. We also, just across the street, we did have some supporters of President Trump as well, though it was a smaller group. I talked with both sides, and both were pretty passionate about their thoughts on this president.
I don't think he knows anything about Jamestown or about the history of the United States. It's really unfortunate that we have a president that incompetent.
Because his speeches tend to bring everybody together, and that's what I'm about, unity.
Now, again, organizers for the rally against the president, they said it only took a couple of days for them to throw this protest together. It was set to start at 9. We pulled up around 8:30. They already had dozens of people out there, and then the numbers just grew from there. And again, we also had some supporters of the president across the street as well. And so we had groups here, we're told, from not only Williamsburg and James City County area, but also the rest of the peninsula, South Side, Richmond, and Northern Virginia as well. So a lot of people out here this morning. We're live in James City County. Anthony Sabella, News 3.
And about an hour away from where the president is, the groups are also boycotting his appearance.
I want to bring in News 3 reporter Allison Mechanic. She is in Richmond this afternoon. We know that's where the Legislative Black Caucus is holding several of its own events to honor this 400th anniversary. Allison?
Well, here in Richmond, there are several events going on that have all been organized by the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus. They tell us that there's two different reasons behind having some events scheduled up here instead of going down to Jamestown. They tell us that the first reason is because they don't agree with many of the president's actions and recent policies. But they also say that another reason why they're not in Jamestown is because they say those events don't include a major factor of their history. They say it doesn't include any of the events. They aren't talking about that the first slaves were brought over to our area during that same period 400 years ago. Now, if you take a look at this video, you can see some of the events that went on this morning. The very first event was inside the state capitol, and that's where there was a wreath-laying ceremony. You were able to speak to local delegate Sia Price. She explained to us why she decided to come up here to Richmond instead of going to Jamestown.
I know that I don't stand for divisiveness and hate. I don't stand for the tweets that have been coming from our president or the policies that he's been promulgating. I know that I was elected to fight for all of my constituents and to fight for a better Virginia, and I feel like the events here in Richmond are more aligned with those goals.
Now, after that ceremony earlier this morning, there was another ceremony around 10:30, and that was at the Lumpkin jail site, which is just a short distance away from here. We had a number of delegates there, and we also saw Attorney General Mark Herring there attending that service. Now, coming up a little bit later on News 3, we'll have more about the different events going on here in Richmond and what other local delegates had to say about their decision to not go to Jamestown. Live in Richmond, I'm Allison Mechanic, News 3.